Hello, my name is Carly Wyman, MS in Sustainable Food Systems, presenting today along with Mackenzie Martinez, seeking her MS in Sustainable Food Systems. This research project is entitled Industrial Juicing to Advance Food Security in the Hawaiian Islands. The motivation behind this report has to do with Hawaii's high levels of food insecurity. Hawaii is very reliant on outside sources for food. Studies show that Hawaii imports anywhere between 85 to 90% of its consumable foods. This reliance on shipping has been a subject of growing concern in the public sphere, as this leaves our food system vulnerable to interruptions in shipping, such as hurricanes or pandemics. In addition to this low level of food security, high overhead costs make it difficult for local small-scale farmers to make a viable living from farming. Farmers face issues such as labor shortages, high costs of inputs, including electricity, and face barriers to accessing land with high competition from development. Olohana Foundation, a small Hawaii Island nonprofit organization, is taking these issues head-on through a recent acquisition of legacy industrial-scale aseptic, meaning pasteurization, juicing equipment. This valuable equipment could help to solve the twin issues of low levels of food self-sufficiency while also allowing farmers to add value to their crops, allowing them to fetch a higher price for their products. We partnered with Olohana Foundation, asking the question, how can Olohana Foundation develop their aseptic juicing line to best support increased food self-sufficiency in the islands? How can the juicing line be redeployed in a manner to provide sustainable economic opportunity to producers and other community members? Our methodology was a mixed methods approach. This involved collecting primary data via 2 surveys distributed to both fruit growers as well as potential fruit buyers. We also interviewed 15 Hawaii food systems experts and players. Finally, we completed desk research to access crop production data, as well as to conduct a literature review on relevant topics. Here are some of the key findings from our research. Firstly, we looked at the equipment itself to understand what the capabilities of this equipment are and what it would take to put it back into operation. We learned that this line of equipment is extremely valuable and operates at a high capacity. Generally, such a juicing line is run for 5 days straight due to the involved sanitization process that must be completed before and after operation. To illustrate, we learned that to run, for example, the paddle finisher, which separates the skin and seeds out from the fruit, we would need a minimum of 1,000 pounds per hour of papaya to justify running such equipment. This amounts to a minimum of 6 million pounds or a maximum of 12 million pounds of papaya per year. In 2019, the amount of recorded papaya production in Hawaii was just under 12 million pounds. In other words, this machinery has the capacity to process the entire annual papaya production of the Hawaiian Islands. This would therefore necessitate a steady and consistent supply of local fruits to ensure a viable fruit juice or puree product. Which potential fruits are being produced in abundant enough quantities to supply a system of this scale? The majority of our fruit grower survey respondents do not currently sell their fruits. We also found that nearly half of respondents have excess fruit that could be sold, turned into value-added products, and more. Diversity was also found to be the norm. The average number of fruit tree varieties that respondents are growing is 15. Finally, the majority are interested in learning more about joining a fruit growers cooperative. These numbers clearly show that small, diversified farmers may benefit from a cooperative structure that could pool small and diverse fruit harvests from growers who otherwise may have excess fruit going to waste. These were the top crops in production based on our growers survey. From this available supply, valuable fruit purees and juices could be produced, including through blended fruit products.
Next, we looked at the commercial demand for local fruit products through surveying 11 local commercial fruit buyers. Additionally, we examined broader national juice market trends and also looked at the potential for producing agricultural inputs with the equipment. These were the most in-demand fruits. 100% of survey respondents were interested in sourcing lulakoi or passion fruit. 90% were interested in purchasing oranges. Importantly, the main barriers of these commercial fruit buyers to marketing and serving Hawaii-sourced fruit products were cost and lack of consistent supply. None of these buyers listed a lack of demand from customers as a barrier to selling such products. This juicer project can help bridge a gap between local producers and the high market demand for Hawaii-grown fruits. Demand for beverages containing functional ingredients such as those listed in the chart above is growing. Many of these crops are grown in Hawaii, including turmeric, ginger, oranges, cacao, and others. This shows that Hawaii-grown specialty crops have a place in the marketplace. What if this equipment could be used to produce agricultural inputs instead of food? Our team also explored this possibility specifically to produce agricultural inputs used in Korean natural farming methods. Through producing such inputs, there is potential to increase self-sufficiency since many farmers are reliant on expensive imported fertilizers and inputs in the Hawaiian Islands. The juicer equipment can produce these inputs, making them more accessible to local farmers. This market is also accessible. Few other companies in Hawaii are producing them commercially. Because of the community-driven nature of this project already underway, the values and mission of the Olahana Foundation, and the nature of Fruit Supply, we found that a cooperative model would be well suited towards this project. Hawaii fruit producers interviewed and surveyed were very interested in joining a cooperative. Overall, almost 70% were interested in learning more about joining a fruit growers cooperative. Respondents were very interested in cooperative benefits such as bulk purchasing of inputs, guaranteed market for access/overripe crops, education and information sharing, accessing compost and other inputs from the cooperative, and assistance with harvesting. Those surveyed expressed an interest in the cooperative, providing a few different benefits, including receiving support or training in business planning and marketing, horticulture, and crop sciences. Almost 74% were interested in receiving training in sustainable, organic, or natural farming and gardening practices, and almost 57% reported interest in new tools and technologies. Developing a cooperative that meets the express needs of producers will further incentivize participation and thus guarantee a fruit supply. Overall takeaways: while there is currently likely not enough of any one type of locally grown fruit available at the quantities needed to utilize the equipment as it was previously set up, the machinery has the potential for blends, fermented products, and more. A business model that includes a diversified input and output mix will likely be the strongest approach for making the most of this equipment. More research should be conducted with a focus on what local products could work for creating value-added product markets. The importance of community-driven food security became clear in this research process. We found 3 key aspects of this community-led food security project. Community leaders or champions are very important drivers for such projects. Number 2, a diversity of institutional stakeholders play various intersecting roles. And 3, stakeholders both provide inputs as well as receive benefits from such projects, closing the loop for a more sustainable community-led food system.
Thanks so much for watching today. Please feel free to reach out with any further questions.